Alright, so we're at our next step and we're working with Color Picker to create color, and we're on page 185. So with our selection tool, we're going to select the bottom bar on this sign right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to double click this fill box. This is a different way to add and create color. This looks familiar if you're using Adobe Photoshop. We have a few different things here. So we have sort of these color modes right here, RGB, CMYK, and then we also have our web color, which we talked about a little bit in our color lecture. So you could pull up even your color codes there, and both these colors kind of work together. So we can kind of drag around, and we want sort of these, as you can see, this color changes when we drag around. We move these triangles right here. We can get some different colors. So right now, let's we're going to do an exact color through here. This is just different ways. So we want our C40. We want our M65, Y90, and our K key 33 or black. And that's going to give us an exact color. It's going to be kind of like a murky brown, not so cool. And we're going to click OK. And that's changed that color. We can always, let's save this swatch. Name it dark brown. And click OK. Do Command S just to save our document. So the next part is using Illustrator swatch libraries. So there are specific swatch libraries, different color combinations Adobe uses, even Pantone, Toyo, other thematic libraries. When you work within a larger corporation, they're going to have swatch libraries for you because they're going to have very specific colors. For example, Lisa Frank has a very specific blue that they use, very specific pink. It's the only pink that they're going to use. It helps reinforce their branding mentality. So getting to understand swatch libraries is great if you're wanting to get into design, especially when you're trying to design not just freelance, but within a corporation with other designers where you're working collaboratively. So your yellow looks the exact same as every yellow that everyone else uses. So we're going to create some spot color using the Pantone Plus library. If you haven't learned much about the Pantone color system, it's pretty cool. Some people get super into it, so maybe that's something if you want to kind of spend your own time doing some research on. So, and it talks a little bit about spot and processing. Process colors printed using a combination of 4 standard process inks, CMY key. A spot color is a special permeated mix that is used instead of this sort of blend. It's got its own plate and its own printing process. The printing process, like your newspapers, are all CMYK, and they kind of layer the colors. Maybe I'll find some cool videos to kind of demonstrate that. So in our swatches panel, we're going to pull up the Swatches Libraries menu button, which is those little books. And we're going to choose Color Books, Pantone, plus Solid Coated. So color books, and there's a whole bunch. Pantone, Solid Coated. So here is, kind of distracted right there. And there's a bunch of really cool, vibrant colors. So we're going to type 755 in the find field. And it's got numbers. It's going to narrow down because they have like a numeral system for their colors as well, different kind of numeral system. And we're going to try to find color 7555. And we're going to select this swatch right here. We're going to choose 2 from Artboard 2. So there we go. I kind of use the bottom artboard swatches just to jump to it. And we're going to click the first white filled tree shape and make sure that fill is this color. Make sure my it's Pantone, and I make sure my stroke is none. And I just did it through my tools panel. And now I'm going to deselect and save. And that's how we can create and use a spot color. So we're going to create a tint a color. Remember, tint is when you add white to lighten a color. So we're going to click the mixed tree shape right there. And we're going to apply the new Pantone color to fill the shape. And I believe we want the stroke to be none. And in the color panel icon, which is right here, we're going to create a new swatch. Yeah. So the color panel icon, sorry, I was reading two different things at the same time. Make sure the fill box is selected, and we're going to drag this tint slider to the left to change the tint value to 7. Or I can just type in 70. And that's just going to lighten it up. It's the lighter percentage, and as you can see, it got lighter. So we're going to create a new swatch. New swatch, new swatch. New swatch, new swatch. Maybe double click and make sure it is named correctly. 70% tint. Just so I know I can always pull it up and don't get confused. And we're just, so it kind of the next, as you can see in your book or even an end, it kind of goes every other. So this one, it's going to go like this with no stroke. And this one is going to go like this, no stroke. Ah! Make sure your fill is selected. And you zoom out and we have done some coloring. Cool. So you can do Command S to save, and we're going to adjust some colors. So there's so many ways to do color in this program. It's a little insane. I'm going to exit out that Pantone. So working with colors, Illustrator offers an edit colors menu option. So edit colors. And there's, I don't have any options, but here's how we can readjust. So it kind of converts colors between color modes, blend colors, and invert colors, and much more in the selected artwork. So we're going to change the logo with Pantone 7555C to imply to use CMY colors instead of Pantone. So we're going to be on Artboard 2, and we're going to select all on Artboard, and I'm just going to click and drag. Instead of doing all those clicks, I just rather click and drag. And then we're going to edit colors, convert to CMYK. And this would help us with our printing process. As you can see, nothing changed. But the color codes changed. So when we print them, the printer won't get really confused with these weird spot colors that we don't have inks for. But it took those colors that we found in those Pantone swatches and we just converted to CMYK. So it doesn't change the codes, it just changes the codes. It doesn't change the colors, it changes the codes because everything's code and numbers and hex and dish and whatnot. So we're going to go from Artboard 1 and we're going to select the first white tree on the left on the top of the sign. I'm going to zoom in. I'm a zoomer. We're going to select this tree, and we're going to do the eyedropper tool, or I, keyboard shortcut, And we're going to click the green bar just above the bottom brown bar. So this one right here. And the bottom bar should be brown. Which, you know what, I'm going to adjust. You always have to be aware of what's selected when you're working. So we're going to select this tree, eyedropper. This greenish, I think it's more of a blue than a green, but that's just me. We're going to select this, and it's going to make it into, so it sort of matches colors using the eyedropper. It pulls where I picked up and created into them, and we're going to make that stroke none. So that's a way to pull up colors and match them to match whatever's within your scene. So file save, and we're going to create a color group. So we're going to pull up our swatches panel, swatches, and we're going to click on a swatch named Aqua to select it. Okay, that's the one that we were just on. Awesome. And we're going to hold down the Shift key and select the forest green swatch, and it's going to group them together, kind of all together. And we're going to click this new folder icon or new group, and we can rename it. We're going to name Tree Logo. Create from selected swatches. Click OK. And with our selection tool, click a blank area of the swatches panel to deselect. And each swatch can be edited independently by double-clicking them, of course. So we're going to click on the white swatch in the top row up here. I'm going to drag it to the right of the forest green to kind of add this swatch into this group. Yeah, it took me a second for it to want to go there, but it got there. You want to make sure you see that blue line on that right edge to work onto it. So mine originally went next to these kind of yellows, so I had to re-drag it. So the last thing we're going to do for this video is we're going to work with the color guide panel. So we're going to go to Artboard 3. And we're going to select the first tree on the left, one with the aqua color, and make sure the fill box is selected. So our fill is selected right there. And we're going to pull up the color guide icon, and that's kind of this fan looking one up here with all the tints and whatnot. And we're going to select the base color to the current color button, which is there. This allows the color guide to suggest colors based on the color showing. So it gives us a lot of analogous colors, and it also gives us kind of an orangey thing going on over here too. So we're going to experiment colors using harmony rules. So this might refer a lot back to that color lecture, kind of good color schemes and whatnot. I'm going to choose analogous from the harmony rules menu, circled in the figure. So if we drop down here, see, it's already building. We have complementary, complementary 2, split, left, right, analogous, monochromatic, shades, triad, couple different triads, compound, high contrast, and pentagram for all my pagans out there. So we're going to choose the harmony rule right there. And analogous. So that gives us all these colors, shades, tints, and tones based on what we've created. And we're going to click File S just to save. And we're going to actually take this thing that's been created, and we're going to save to swatch. So this right here, looks like sort of the French flag with the plus sign. It's going to press this and it's going to save to our swatch group. So if we want to double check, we get our swatch group right there with all those colors that we created with that analogous. And we can pull up the color guide and keep making different patterns. So if we go back up here, and the list of swatches from the color guide panel, choose the 5th color from the left, the 3rd row, basically kind of here exactly in the center. And as you see, since we had that selected, it had changed that first color. So if it says if the tree were still selected, it would have been filled with blue. You can apply it or save any color from swatch guides as an individual swatch. So we're going to set the base color to this current color, that blue, to ensure that all our colors are the same blue. So just going to click right there. And I'm going to choose complementary too. As you can see, we've got some oranges over here, and we're going to save this to our swatch panel. Look, our swatches, we've got a bunch of different colors. So we're going to end this video. We're next going to do some color dialog box and editing some colors and artwork. So there's going to be some more stuff coming up. So I'll see you for the next video.